General Hospital spoilers keep teasing this thing almost cruelly, like they know exactly where to poke. The feelings Jason has for Britt are real, not imagined, not some leftover confusion from his many fractured lives. Real in the way that sneaks up on him when he is not looking for it, when he is busy watching exits, counting threats, measuring rooms. And yet what waits on the other side of that feeling might be nothing solid at all. Something staged, something practiced. Something that smiles back but does not mean what it shows. Jason is not stupid. He has survived too much to be stupid. But he is very good at believing in what is right in front of him if it fits a pattern he wants to trust. Britt fits no pattern, and that alone should have been his first warning. She says things and then retracts them. She stays when she should leave, leaves when staying would be easier. Sometimes she looks at him like she knows exactly how he will move before he moves. Other times she looks past him like he is already gone. There is a future hanging there, implied, hinted at, whispered in spoilers and half scenes, where Jason could be attacked by Britt herself. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, physically. Taken down, removed from the board. And the strangest part is that it does not feel impossible. It feels like something she could do with calm hands and a steady breath. Jason senses that too, even if he refuses to name it. The Huntington's disease story has always sat wrong. Too neat, too convenient, too well timed. Britt is a doctor. She knows how narratives of illness work, how people stop questioning once mortality enters the room. Huntington's explains mood swings, disappearances, desperation. It explains why she pushes people away while asking them to stay. It is the perfect cover. And the more Jason watches her, the more he wonders if it is exactly that. A cover! If the illness is fake, then everything around it changes shape. The pity becomes manipulation. The vulnerability becomes a weapon. Britt wants to fool everyone, not just Jason. She wants the town to see what she allows them to see. And Jason, despite his instincts, despite his training, might be walking straight into it. Jason and Britt do grow closer. That much seems inevitable. Proximity does what proximity always does. Late nights. Shared danger. Conversations that start about one thing and end somewhere else entirely. Jason does not fall fast. But when he falls, it is deep and inconvenient and impossible to climb out of without breaking something. He wants the relationship to be real. He wants it to be simple in the way nothing in his life ever has been. Jason and Britt, no handlers, no agendas, just two people choosing each other. But Britt has never been just one thing. She is layers stacked without labels, secrets folded inside other secrets. Jason asks questions, carefully, indirectly, the way he always does. He investigates without announcing that he is investigating. He checks timelines, movements, inconsistencies. He looks for proof, and he finds almost nothing. Or maybe he finds too much fragments that do not line up into a picture he can trust. What happened during the time Britt was supposed to be dead remains a blank space no one can fill. Not Britt, not Nathan, not anyone who claims to know them. Those missing years are heavy with implication. People do not come back unchanged from death. They come back sharper, colder, or with a mission. Jason understands that better than most. He knows what it is to lose years and come back to a world that moved on. But Britt's absence feels different. Organized. Intentional. Jason tries again. He always does. He follows threads that lead nowhere. Files that end abruptly. Names that dissolve into aliases. He fails, or maybe someone smarter stays ahead of him. Britt never confirms, never denies. She lets him exhaust himself against walls that look solid but are not. And that mystery, the very thing that should push him away, pulls him closer. Jason has always been drawn to puzzles that refuse to be solved, to people who do not fit. Britt becomes that puzzle, and somewhere between suspicion and desire he falls in love. Not with certainty, with possibility, with the idea that beneath all of this there is something true. The past they share, or think they share, might be real. The moments, the glances, the trust that almost formed. But if Britt was on a secret mission, then it was always doomed. Ended before it began. And Britt, clever as she is, may have engineered the ending to protect herself. Or protect something bigger. She makes Jason believe it was his fault. A mistake. A failure. She lets him carry that weight while she walks away clean. What kind of secret lasts years? What kind of secret requires death, illness, love, all staged? The answer points upward, toward power, toward control. Toward something like the Composite Lab Project, or whatever version of it exists now under another name, Britt is not just a participant. She could be the operator, the one pulling strings while others take the fall. Faison being blamed feels too easy. Britt learned from him, but she also learned how to hide behind monsters. She could be far more capable than anyone suspects. The idea that she might be the real head, the shadow known only as C, is unsettling but not absurd. Britt is brilliant, ruthless when needed, and always underestimated. If she faked her death, faked Huntington's, faked her love for Jason, then what is left that is real? Or maybe the love is the one thing she did not fake, and that is what makes her dangerous. Because feelings complicate plans. Because Jason complicates everything. Cullen might just be another piece on her board, Nathan too. Blood does not always mean loyalty in the way people expect. It could mean obligation. Orders follow without understanding the full picture. Britt could be the heir to Faison's legacy, not in name but in reach. And Jason, by digging, by caring, by refusing to let go, might be stepping directly into her trap. She tells him Cullen manipulated her. She plays the victim with just enough truth to make it believable. Jason wants to protect. He always does. And that instinct might be the lever she uses to pull him closer and then take him down when the time is right. There is danger ahead. Real danger. Not just heartbreak. And Jason senses it even as he chooses to ignore it, because sometimes loving someone means walking into the dark with your eyes open pretending they are closed. And after all of that, after the tension builds and stretches thin, the story does not slow down. It becomes stranger. Britt becomes harder to read, if that is even possible. One day she is fragile, hands shaking, breath uneven, leaning on Jason like she needs him to stay upright. The next she is sharp, commanding, already 3 steps ahead of everyone else in the room. Jason notices the switch. He files it away. He does not confront her. Not yet. He starts to feel watched, not in the obvious way, but in the subtle shifts. Doors unlocked that should not be. Messages erased before he reads them. People who should not know his schedule knowing it anyway. He tells himself it is paranoia. Old habits. But his gut keeps pressing. Britt is connected to this. Maybe not directly, maybe through layers, but she is there. Jason tries to walk away. He tells himself that loving someone does not mean sacrificing your sense of reality. He creates distance. Britt lets him. That alone is suspicious. She does not chase. She waits. And when he comes back, because he always does, she welcomes him like nothing changed. That is what unsettles him most. The Huntington symptoms fluctuate too conveniently. Bad days when questions get close. Good days when Jason pulls away. A doctor could fake that. A brilliant one could make it flawless. Jason wants to believe her. He almost does. Until he catches her once. Just once. Moving with strength she should not have. It is brief. She notices his look. She smiles weakly, as if daring him to say something. He does not. But the seed is planted. The idea that Britt could take him down stops being abstract. It becomes a scenario he runs through his head. How she would do it. When. Where. Jason hates that part of himself. The part that plans for betrayal even while holding someone in his arms. But that part has kept him alive. If Britt is at the center of something bigger, then Jason is already compromised. His feelings make him predictable. His loyalty makes him exploitable. Britt knows this. She has always known exactly what kind of man he is. That may be why she chose him, or why she fell for him, or both. There is a moment, quiet, almost tender, where Britt admits she is tired, not of lying. She does not say that, just tired. Jason almost asks her to stop, to tell him everything. He almost believes she will. But then her face closes off, just slightly, and the moment passes. The truth, whatever it is, has teeth. It bites anyone who gets too close. And Jason, for all his strength, is not immune. He keeps digging anyway, because that is who he is. And because loving Britt means accepting that she might destroy him and choosing her anyway. Whether Britt is the mastermind, the heir, the shadow behind the curtain, or just another survivor who learned to be ruthless, one thing is clear: the danger is not imagined. And Jason is running out of time before curiosity turns into a target on his back. If Britt does strike, it will not be in anger. It will be precise, necessary. And Jason will understand, even as he falls, that the love was real. The lies were real too. And sometimes those things exist in the same space, tangled, impossible to separate. Jason does not confront her. That is important. People expect him to explode, to demand truth, to corner her with facts laid out like weapons on a table. He does none of that. He watches. He listens to the spaces between what Britt says and what she does not bother to explain. Those spaces grow wider, almost comfortable. He notices how she never panics when danger is close. How her fear when it appears feels rehearsed, like she knows the shape of it already. Jason has seen real terror. He has worn it. Britt's version slips on and off too easily. And still, when she reaches for him in the dark, when her hand finds his, like it knows exactly where to land, his body responds before his mind can stop it. This is how she gets in. Not through lies alone, through timing, through choosing moments when he is tired of being alone, tired of doubting everyone. Britt offers something that looks like rest, like relief. Jason wants that so badly, he almost convinces himself the inconsistencies are nothing. Almost. The investigations continue quietly. Jason never stops working, even when he pretends to be still. He asks questions that sound casual. He revisits old reports. He traces money that moves in strange patterns, never settling, never staying long enough to be claimed. The names connected to it change often, but the structure does not. It is elegant, controlled. That bothers him more than chaos ever could. Britt appears in the margins of these discoveries, never directly, never enough to accuse, always just close enough to feel intentional. Jason starts to understand that if she is behind this, she has built it to survive scrutiny. There is a night where everything almost breaks open, a location compromised, a contact vanishes. Jason moves fast, instinct sharp, and Britt is suddenly there, too quickly, too calm. She knows details she should not. She covers it well, distracts him with urgency, with concern, with his name said softly like it matters. It works. It always works. Later, alone, he realizes how perfectly she redirected him. That is when the idea settles fully. Britt is not reacting to events. She is shaping them. The fake illness becomes more than a theory. Jason replays every moment where Huntington's explained too much. The tremors that vanished when focus was needed. The exhaustion that lifted when control was at stake. Britt never lets anyone examine her closely. She keeps the narrative just vague enough. Jason thinks about how many doctors would question her and how many would not dare. He imagines her planning this years ago, the diagnosis chosen carefully, the timeline adjusted, the sympathy it would generate, the lowered expectations, genius hiding in plain sight. And then there is the love. That part hurts to think about because some of it feels real, too real to dismiss entirely. Britt does not always gain from letting him see her softer edges. Sometimes it complicates things for her. That is the dangerous part. Jason starts to wonder if she did not intend to love him, and that this was the variable she miscalculated. Cullum enters the picture again, circling like he belongs there. Jason watches their interactions closely. Britt never defers. She allows Cullum to think he has influence, maybe even control. But Jason sees the way Britt sets the tempo. Cullum reacts. Britt decides. The lie about Cullum manipulating her becomes clearer. A story crafted for Jason. A hook. Nathan's absence hangs heavy. A brother, dead, returned, gone again. Jason considers the possibility that Nathan did not just work with Britt, but for her. Orders passed through blood. Loyalty disguised as family. Britt would know how to use that. She would know how to bury it too. The legacy of Faison looms larger the more Jason looks. Not the madness, the structure, the ambition, the belief that chaos is a tool, not an outcome. Britt fits that model disturbingly well. She learned from him, she improved on him. Where Faison was loud, Britt is subtle. Where he demanded fear, she invites trust. Jason feels the walls closing in. Not physically, strategically. His movements are anticipated. His allies are distracted. He realizes he is no longer hunting information. He is being managed, and the person doing it knows him intimately. There is a moment of clarity, sharp and unwelcome. Jason understands that Britt could end him if she wanted. Not because she is stronger, because she knows where he will stand when the blow comes. She knows the choices he will make before he makes them. And still, when she looks at him with something like regret in her eyes, he hesitates. That hesitation might cost him everything. Britt starts pulling away. Just slightly. Enough to make Jason notice. Enough to make him move closer. She speaks in half-truths now. Prepares him, maybe, for an ending. Or for a reveal. Jason cannot tell which. He confronts her indirectly, mentions pieces of information he should not have, watches her reactions, she adjusts instantly. That tells him everything. There is no confession. There will never be one. Britt does not believe in clean endings. She believes in survival. The trap tightens. Jason follows a lead he knows is dangerous. He does it anyway, because if he stops now, she wins without ever showing her hand. The location is wrong. Too quiet. Britt appears again. Out of place. Out of time. Jason finally understands. This is the moment. She does not attack him immediately. She talks. That is almost worse. She explains nothing directly, but her words circle the truth. She admits to lies without naming them. She admits to ambition without apology. When Jason asks if any of it was real, her silence answers him. The strike comes fast. Efficient. Britt does not hesitate. She disables him the way someone trained would, the way someone who planned for this would. As he goes down, Jason realizes she is crying, not theatrically, not enough to stop, just enough to acknowledge the cost. She tells him to stop looking, to let it go, to live. That is the closest thing to mercy she offers. When Jason wakes, Britt is gone. The operation continues without a ripple. No proof, no closure, only confirmation of what he already knew. Britt was never just a victim, never just a lover. She was the center. The town will never see her that way. They will see a complicated woman, a survivor, a doctor, a liar, maybe, but not the architect. Jason sees it clearly now, and that knowledge isolates him more than any wound. He does not chase her, not immediately, because he knows she is watching. And because part of him still loves her in a quiet, damaged way that does not disappear just because the truth hurts. Britt remains out there, dangerous, brilliant, untouchable. And Jason, bruised but alive, understands that loving her was never the real mistake. Underestimating her was